Hello everyone, good morning here on Feldy. The sun is rising, it's just past 7 in the morning. We're out here in the hay field. I picked up some grass. I did a bunch of work off cam and have all the fields fertilized, ready for planting, and picked up some more grass to boot for our hungry cows. And just looking at it here, we should have plenty of food for them, I would think, for a while. But I do plan, kind of as a planting season goes, I want to get this cleaned up here and get the fields cleared off. But for the moment, let's head on to the planting field where we have the equipment sitting down there ready to go. Oh, that calls to mind, even as we look at our fields, we're not able to see the whole map, of course, in this particular view. Oh, you know something? I didn't get my timer going. Let me get that going here so I know when to stop. But kind of off cam, I also came up with next season's cropping plan, if you will, and I'm going to switch to that here real quick. Not that. Let's look here. So here I had to do it in black and white so we could kind of see it a little better, but you can tell it's a map of Feldy with our island field down here in the far upper corner. So I think down here, kind of the tractor is parked right here with the planter. This flat field in here I'm going to turn into potato. I'm also going to put potatoes just in these 3 fields. I'm going to get some different equipment, I think, to help me harvest it this go around, and it should be a whole lot quicker. At least I'm banking on it. And I'll put corn kind of in these fields here and kind of heading up. The island field down here I'm going to put into barley. You may recall we had a corn last time. So this will give a little bit of rotation. These were also corn as I recall, but this one was OSR. Yeah, maybe all of these were corn. I just don't remember. So kind of heading on up through here, I always kind of harvest coming straight up the middle here. There's a lot of corn, but I tucked 2 fields of OSR in here. The rest of what you'll see here is corn kind of heading up to the cattle. There's a lot of chopped corn we'll be able to put up for the cattle that we have, the dairy that we have going. And then if we ever choose to go back to, I can't remember the sugar beet is for the cattle, maybe for the hogs. I have 3 fields of sugar beet kind of in here, the flatter fields, if you will. So make them a little bit easier to harvest. Last time, I think we had some of it in here. These over here, I seem to recall that they were OSR or barley last time, or maybe this was canola. I think these were canola, so I didn't have to do anything in the fields. I just said this whole portion of the map, the northwest corner, would be in barley. Then you kind of come over here. These fields here have been in red clover kind of since the beginning. I probably should tear them out. Well, I know I've tore them out once. And maybe rotate them with something. This here we recently planted as red clover. I think it makes sense to have it close to the sheep here, as that's something that they eat. This red clover, of course, will go to our feed mill sitting kind of right up here to make hog and cattle feed. And got a little dab more of corn because I figured we'd round out, what we were sending up here to the cattle. Some of it is just proximity and how close it is to the feed mill or to the dairy as to why I planted certain things here. And then kind of up top here, which is kind of always the final area that I go to, what is there, 7 fields, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I put in some wheat, 4 fields of wheat, and a little bit more OSR. I want to keep up with the OSR because at some point we may need more biofuel or whatever, which is clear down here. So yeah, I don't know if it's smart putting the OSR way up over here, but we'll get some nonetheless. You know, I had never, or at least I didn't recall, counting how many fields we actually have on Feldy. And according to my notes here, we have 41 fields total. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I added 5 fields. So really, when the map comes to you at the beginning, you have 36 fields. And then with some of the changes made to the map, we ended up putting 5 more. That'd be this one, and these 2 hard to get to fields, kind of on the northwest side, and then this one here, kind of burping down over the hillside here. So I think in total I have 7 barley fields, 4 wheat fields, kind of up in this area, 16 corn fields, corn or maize, kind of sprinkled throughout, 5 OSR fields, 2 here and then 3 over here, 3 potato fields kind of down here at the bottom, you know, which is going to be close to the selling point here with the brewery. And I want to remember this go around to use some of the potatoes for the special mission. I think the church is right here. There's a trigger there that we put those in. So 3 fields of potatoes, 3 fields of sugar beet, 2 larger ones up here, this one here, and the same equipment that I'm using on the potatoes I think can also be used on sugar beets. So I'm looking forward to doing that at some point. And 3 fields of red clover. I didn't plant any peas. Is that the only other thing that I could have planted? Yeah, sounds about right. Seems like there might be something else too. It's hard for me to justify planting peas because, you know, all you get from it is feed stuff, and that's exactly what you get from red clover. And the benefit of red clover, of course, is it grows back, so you don't have to replant. So really only at the beginning I had a few peas cut, but I haven't really done any since. So that's the plan, such as it is, and like I say, I think we're coming towards the end of the series that I'll be doing this on, so I don't even anticipate we'll get to all of this. I'm just trying to be a decent farmer and plan ahead, and if I ever return to the series, you know, I do intend to plant all this, you know, which I don't think I'll do on cam. But if I ever come back to the save, this way I'll have plenty to do, specifically getting into harvest. And they're already all fertilized, so I've taken care of the ads. So really all I need to do is quit talking and get back to the field and start planting. Alright, so our hero is set up here. I think we're all ready to go. Turn on the lights. I think I need to turn on, oh yeah. And I already have potato selected. Who knows how long I've had it sitting here. There we go, baby. Alright. So we have planting start. Oh my, there's still something in there that has a collision. Alright, I'm going to get this around, and then I think I'm going to hire. Oh, look at that car pausing politely for something. I wonder what the car is waiting for. Oh, there's maybe a car coming across a bridge. That could be what's going on. Or one to spawn. Who knows? I'm just thankful the traffic is working the way it should. Oh, and it's the milk truck waiting to head out. You know, I don't see it very often head out. I think it's only specific times that the code prompts it to head out to wherever we send it. And if those times are missed, then it just sits there. So whatever. All right, I'm gonna get this around here. Then I'm gonna hire our planter. So most of this I'll probably end up doing off cam, maybe following this episode here. It's just a lot of repetitious work to get all the planting done. Probably would actually go quicker if I did it myself. You know, one of the things I've noticed is when you put the equipment on higher mode, it seems to go slower than what you can actually do the planting or other field operations with. I think the same is true even for cultivating, where it goes like, you know, there's 3 speed settings, 1, 2, and 3, and 2 is generally the speed at which you can do most field operations. Alright, is this the angle I want to go? I almost think I needed 135-ish. Let me get that down. That looks about right. Let me make sure I'm turned off on... Looks like there's more ripples in the water than normal for some reason. Must be the way the sun is hitting it or the light or whatever. Anyway, we'll get this guy hired. Yeah, see, he's going quite a bit slower than what I think we could do if we wanted. But that's okay. It'll allow us to take care of some other important matters. Oh, is this not working? Oh, good grief. Is there an error? No. I wonder... I thought I had fixed this, and it looks like I haven't. I don't know if you remember the episode. Oh, stop! There was an episode where, you know, I figured out that when you leave the screen or leave the game, you know, and just hop out, that the toggle, the switcher, changes. And I thought I'd figured it out, you know, but evidently I haven't, or at least not permanently. So I'm going to need to cycle through, apparently, a few things. Oh yes, I better leave this. You know what? I better get him out of the way, because the tractor is going to be coming around the mountain. There it is out there, and I want to make sure he has plenty of room to turn around. Alright, back out here. Get the lights on. Got just a little bit, kind of here on this knoll. We've taken care of most of it. Like I say, the cattle should be well fed. They have over 300,000 liters. So, but I just want to finish picking the grass up. So we'll get that done. And I've been exploring, trying to see what Farm Sim 11 map to head to after this one. I mean, this is going to be a tough act to follow, especially since I kind of would like to try a large map the next go around. You know, there aren't as many 4X maps available. But there are a bunch of them, and some of them pretty good ones. I've already discovered some issues with some of them. You know, for example, you know, when we hit the eye and we bring up our PDA and we see where we're roaming around kind of on the map, I've learned there are issues with the 4X map because the game wasn't designed with the anticipation that larger than normal maps would be made. So the coding is hardwired to be set up for the standard sized map. So, but I think I figured out a workaround, and there are a few mods still lurking out there. Oh shoot, I missed that. That were designed kind of to take care of that problem. And I wish I'd have known that before figuring out kind of my own fix. But that's okay. And I don't know if anyone has a suggestion, although odds are by the time I have this video publicly released, I will have probably landed on whatever one that I'm choosing. I'm really kind of looking at the ones over on ModHoster. That seems to be one of the few sites that is still open and has posted many of the Farm Sim 11 mods. You know, it's getting harder and harder to find them. You know, there's so many links. You know, you can still find info on them on the internet. The ad is still there, but the files themselves, you know, with whatever file hosting service that the modders used back in the day, a lot of those links are just broken. No longer available. You know, and it used to be, I mean, it was where a file was hosted was such a big deal to modders. And, you know, the idea to some modders that someone would take your file and upload it somewhere else was just anathema. You know, to where, you know, that would be akin to starting a fight. And I know I've talked about this dynamic before. You know, modders receive such little in the way of compensation for what they do, and maybe control of the mod and where it's posted is really the only thing they would ask. And you know, some people out there would just disregard that wish and would just upload it all over the place. But sometimes some modders were able to lock the errors down. Maybe it was lack of publicity, lack of accolades at the time. This one here being one of them, you know, and until I fortunately was able to contact the mapper, Farmer Yip, and ask permission. You know, it's like, hey, this isn't available anywhere on the internet. I mean, the only thing that I could find on it was a few scattered YouTube videos, and that's all. The files were formerly hosted on FSUK, a forum, and that has long been dead now for several years. Unfortunately, I still wish we had it. You know, they on their forum, it was a British forum, had not only Farm Sim 11 mods, they went clear back to Farm Sim 09. And it was one of the few, you know, where those kinds of mods were available. I'm gonna get the rest of this in a single trailer. That would be nice. How is our, can we see our, oh shoot, we can't. We can't see. Maybe as soon as I get it full, I'll go check on our planner. Gotta make sure we keep him moving. But when sites like FSUK died, you know, there were some of us who begged to keep the pages open, at least as a reference. I don't know that any of us at the time thought about the mods, but those all went with it. And, you know, I've long been curious if the original owner of FSUK merely took it off the air, if maybe somewhere he has it all in the files. Oh, okay, I'm already full. Already full. Let me get this up here to the cows. Yeah, this won't be as much left as I was thinking. And wow, am I going through the fuel. This thing is heavy. So it is flat out hard to find Farming Sim 11 mods. Especially as these sites one at a time go down, and I'm just dreading the day that I learn Mod Hoster is gone down. I've gotten so much from them, and I know there's been some others out there who have tried to download whatever they could and get it while they can. I just wish we didn't have to do that, and I don't know how a site like Mod Hoster sustains itself, if the few ads that they poke out, if they do any good, just don't know. And I'm kind of at the point, especially as I enjoy some of these older versions to preserve these mods, I'd be willing to fork over a little cash to try to help preserve them, and I don't know what all that takes. And I don't even know how much data is there. Maybe someone can comment on that. I mean, does anybody know, like a site like Mod Hoster, that literally has thousands and thousands of mods? How much space does that take? How many terabytes of information is that? And if there was a way, to download the whole site, what would it take? Hired driver. Okay, he's still hired, so let me just go. Alright, he's got one more strip. Maybe just enough time to get our tractor back to the field. That's irritating now that my vehicle switcher no longer works. Ah, humbug. So for any watching this, I mean, if you enjoy those older maps and mods, better go get them while you can. If there's a link that still works, I don't know what the shelf life is, but do get them. And it seems part of the problem, because I was starting talking about this, is anytime a modder insists on having a separate link versus being hosted on a site. You'll go into Mod Hoster and you'll look at a particular mod, and some of them will have it hosted on Mod Hoster and on some external source. And I think some of this was some way that the modder wanted to get compensated. They put it on some of these W sites, where you click on the thing and you wonder what kind of a virus you're going to pick up. And all to, I think, to earn a little money or whatever. And I can't imagine they earned a lot. And sometimes, they'd be insistent that they wanted just their own download link. They didn't want anybody else. And hey, I get it. It's kind of like today, if a modder has a mod on the Mod Hub and they're actually earning a little money for it, well then they probably don't want it all over the internet. They prefer people to get it would go to the main Mod Hub so that they can earn whatever they're going to earn with, the few clicks or whatever that they get. And that's probably how it was happening here in the old days. But the problem is now all those links are busted or no longer active, and so you go on there and Mod Hoster will still have the mod represented and pictures of it and even different versions talked about. And oh, I forgot, tractor stopped. Okay, so there we go. We were just told, you know what, let's leave it parked here. This isn't too important. Oh, I think I'm supposed to go back the other way. Alright, not bad at all. I forgot we had built something to let us know when it was done. So it's frustrating now, and maybe the modders themselves didn't realize this would happen, that all their links, would disappear. Maybe they didn't care, maybe they've moved on. But, for those of us, that enjoy some of the older versions or want to preserve some of it kind of poses a problem. So maybe while I'm here, let me just see if I can refill this puppy. Get some more potatoes in there. And we'll head on to the next one. I'll do the same. I think I'll try to get the outer edge planted. This will be nice. Last time after I planted, I went and fertilized every field. Now that part is already taken care of, so I guess we'll just go fishing this time instead of... Oh, that's what happens when you try to take too wide of a spot. Some time ago, I don't remember how far back, I'm a part of Mod Hoster, meaning I have an account there. I've posted a few of my mods over the years, put them there. And I left a comment on their forum, because there's some other things that are breaking down. Mod Hoster used to have, well, they probably still have, a great system for... there was a voting system where mods could be, I think they called it featured. You could see the number of download clicks. There's all sorts of comments on each. And then they had the ability to sort it and filter it. So you could, if you wanted to see which mod or map in a particular category was most downloaded, you could sort the whole list, by number of downloads or whatever, and it just was a great way to see which, was the most popular. And presumably, the more popular something was, it probably means that it was working good and didn't have any errors, in it. Maybe not entirely, but I just think you increase the likelihood that you found a good mod when it was really popular. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, a lot of those features seem to be broken, and not sure why. And nobody on the forum, it's as if it's dead, and nobody has answered my question, and I've just tried reaching out to names that I see on there, people who say they're moderators, and just haven't received any answers. So when you see that, you just wonder if the days are numbered for the particular site. Because if they don't care about it, then it doesn't seem likely that it's going to continue. But something is sustaining it, so maybe the few ads they get, are enough. Like I say, I'd be willing to help pay some to help keep it up, and I'm probably not the only one. And I know they got the ability to do that, but I'm reluctant to put down any bread until I know that it's going to be something viable. Lined up, and off we go again. Watch out for the car. Hopefully, is this going to take too much of the road? That won't be too bad. That won't be too bad. Alright, we'll leave him to it. Head back out to this fella who has a final load. just a little bit here, and then we'll have, oops, yeah, we're going to be about 380,000. So hopefully there's plenty of food in here to keep them going for a long while we're planting fields, harvesting. You know, I forget so many times that I actually have the dairy up here and need to feed the cattle. You know, they're giving us milk, you know, which is adding to I never have to think about or look up my cash anymore. And part of that ad is because of these cows up here. Oh yeah, they're refilling manure too. They're just working away for the farm, and so just need to remember to feed them. And when there's so much else to do, it's one of those things easy to forget. Okay, so, well, yeah, I guess I won't leave it here. I will head over to this other area where there's a grass meadow. To park it while we head back out to the planting field. And really, the field that is just ahead of the tractor is probably enough for our cattle. Just kind of for kicks, I went and cut that other area kind of on the far eastern side of the map. Let's just head up here. The grass usually regrows fairly... Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's ready to cut up here again, so... But we have plenty of grass. Oh, I maybe didn't even need all that over there. Who knows? Who knows? So, actually, you know what? I'm just going to head him up the hill. And, oh, I'm reminded of something else. These hedges are all overgrown. So those are going to need trim. I'm just going to help kind of kitty corner. Look at that. Already 30 minutes gone by. Well, like I say, I'm probably going to do a lot of the planting off cam, kind of according to the crop plan that I showed everybody. And in the meantime, if anyone has a thought or a suggestion on a map, a good map for Farm Sim 11 to try, I'm all ears. Would love to hear about it, and I guess a part of me too is particularly interested in trying a map that doesn't have any other publicity. You know, this one here, there was a couple videos on Feldy. But because it was released so late, kind of in the life cycle of Farm Sim 11, I think Farm Sim 13 was already available, you know, and because it was so late, you know, nobody, I don't think, hardly ever played it. Maybe they did. And for sure there wasn't really anything on YouTube about it. So, oops, why don't I just go in here, I'll just back up and see our planter. So if there are other maps out there that are good and never really received some of the recognition that they should have, that's probably something I'd be interested in. So yeah, if you got some suggestions, would be interesting to see those in the comments. Thank you for coming along and watching as I continue farming this wonderful map we call Feldy. And you all have a wonderful day. Till the next time. Bye-bye.